The pandemonium starts at Fulham in the early kickoff. They take on Manchester City, a host of games kicking off at 3 p.m. with critical afternoons in the lives and future of Burnley, Luton as well. And then Nottingham Forest included in that battle. They take on Chelsea in the late game on Saturday. Sunday, all eyes on Old Trafford as Manchester United host Arsenal, Aston Villa, Liverpool. On Monday, Tuesday, there's Tottenham, Man City, and Wednesday there are two games as well. Brighton, Chelsea, Man United versus Newcastle. Don't blink, you're going to miss some action because this is what it looks like in the Premier League. We are getting the title race we deserve. Is it going to go to the last day? We are going to find out in match week 37. Arsenal and Manchester City separated by just 1 point. Liverpool in third, and then Aston Villa and Tottenham also still fighting it out in the battle for Europe. Newcastle, Chelsea and Manchester United. It is interesting in that fight as well. Talking about interesting, talking about close, what about the bottom of the Premier League table? Nottingham Forest did themselves a huge favour last time out. That means trouble for Luton and Burnley. It all goes down to this weekend. I know it's the penultimate weekend of action, but a lot could be decided in the Premier League. And to tell us what we can expect this weekend, to provide the expert opinion in the house with Zesh Riemann and Flo Lloyd-Hughes. The title race we deserve, the relegation battle we deserve, the battle for Europe we were hoping for, it is all lighting up. It's fire at the moment.
It's the business end of the season. It's the entertaining part of the season where things are decided, titles are won, people are relegated, livelihoods can change. There's a lot riding on these 2 weeks, and it's going to be really interesting now to see what happens.
Yeah, and for some people that means team no sleep. People like you who've been busy, their games every day now.
Yeah, when you pulled up that long fixture list, that is a lot of games running through to the final weekend of the season, because we've got teams that are playing catch-up as well, a little bit of games in hand. It's absolutely packed. So, yeah, it's going to be back-to-back.
Yeah, looking forward to it. We're looking forward to tonight's show, because here's what's coming up on Team Talks. Well, we are going to start with Sunday's action at Old Trafford. Here's Erik Ten Hag, followed by Mikel Arteta.
Yeah, a few doubts that tomorrow we can resolve because we have another training session, so we will have to wait and see.
Doubts over?
A few names that
the two
you
that
discussed, yes.
Okay. Jorginho, yesterday, and you announced that you've extended his contract, short-term contract. I wonder how important he is to you with what you're trying to do this season, but obviously going forward to next season, and if you needed any persuasion at all.
I think there's no questions about his contribution to the team, the way he feels about his teammates, about the club, the way we play, and he's someone that makes everybody else better. That's his main quality. He's still hungry, he wants to win with us. He's happy here, his family is happy here, so for us it was a really easy decision.
We know he's a little bit like your eyes and ears on the field. Anybody that's watched you live can see the input he has from almost like a coaching point of view. Is there a bit of him that maybe reminds you of yourself then?
Well, he's a very important player for all the coaches, I think, because his game understanding, the way he communicates, the way he coaches people is excellent, and you need those type of players. But on top of that, I think as a model, very difficult to find somebody better than him. You know, when he needs to be at it and serious and drag people with him, he does it. And when it's fun and relaxing atmosphere, he's one of the best as well. So it's a good combination.
If I'd said to you, Mikel, at the beginning of the season, 2 games to go, you'd be right in a title race, win your last 2 games and the title could be yours, what would you have said?
I would have taken that pen and sign it. Yeah.
And we know that it might not work out the way that you want it. And can you give us a sense that if you have done that and you've signed that pen and you win your next 2 games, the sense of kind of crushing frustration, disappointment, or is it one of belief and joy because you're right where you wanted to be with 2 games to go? Okay.
My brain always took me to the place where we are lifting the Premier League. That's what my brain is doing at the moment. So I just follow my brain and my gut, and this is how I feel. and this is as well the way that I want everybody to think, and hopefully we can achieve it.
Just finally for me, Arsenal fans picked up their papers the other morning and saw Fulham doing some kite flying, and they were a little bit concerned that the Premier League title might be over. I wondered what you made of that and the idea of bonding, and I guess the best thing that you've done with this group of players to bond them, and I suspect it's probably not kite flying.
The power of team bonding, nobody knows what is it, but sometimes you get amazing results with it. I've been in teams that we have struggling to win a game and go out for dinner, do an activity, and then start an unbelievable run. So again, I'm very positive that that's going to be what's going to happen to Fulham.
Do you remember your best bonding? I mean, there was a phase of army training and co-steering and just hideous sounding things like that. Do you remember you got a moment that stuck out as a group, as a team?
We've done a few. We've done trips with David Moyes. He used to take us around the US, and one of the best I ever had in my life.
Okay, we'll go to Seb from the Premier League.
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
Is it tough psychologically to not be in control of the title outcome? How do you manage that with the players?
Well, it leaves you a very clear situation that you have to focus and be determined to do what you have to do to be in the best possible position. That's very simple and clear, and that's what we are doing.
And you make sure the players know that it might not work. You have to prepare them to that possible outcome as well.
No, we have to think that it is going to work, and what is going to work is that that we try to be better than our opponents and beat them. And the final outcome, that would be something else that at the moment is not in our control.
Manchester United aren't in the greatest of forms. We saw that at Selhurst Park. Does that count in this game, or do you think it's the fixture where you take the form out of the equation?
I don't think about every game has a different context. We know the difficulty is in our history when you look at what we've done over there, so we're going to have to be at our best to earn the right to win the game.
You don't have the greatest of records at Old Trafford, well Arsenal don't anyway. Does it make it even more challenging to prepare that game knowing you must win in this context?
It is, and we know what we need to do, but first of all we have to perform at a really high level to deserve to win the match, and that's where the focus is.
Mark from PA.
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
I just wonder what you'll be doing at 12:30 tomorrow. Will you be training when the City game's on, or will you be watching it? Or
We're going to be training.
anyone giving you the updates, or you're not interested?
I don't know if it's something that we can control, but I'm sure people will be connected to it.
It's 2 years now you've gone head-to-head with what a lot of people consider, yourself included, I think, the best team in the world. What does that just say about you and the fact that it is 2 years, it isn't just a one-off? That must be important to you.
Yeah, that we are in the journey to try to catch them and try to be better than them, which is the aim and what we have to do. And it is an inspiration to have this level of opposition, and that's what it makes you better always, when there is someone challenge you to go further and further.
So the proof of how difficult it is to beat them is when you look at someone like Jurgen Klopp, who leaves Liverpool in summer. He's only managed to win one Premier League title. That in itself shows you just how difficult it is to beat City, isn't it?
Yeah, and obviously the history of City, so before that as well, they were winning trophies, and they were winning Premier League, and they've been in an unbelievable journey in the last 10-15 years. But we want to change that. We're trying to do everything that we can to improve and get better and better.
Kai, Football London.
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
You spoke a lot about going to Anfield and it being like a washing machine and the difficulty of the atmosphere there. I just wonder if you hold Old Trafford on a similar path.
Well, it is different, but yeah, obviously the difficulties there, the quality of the opposition, the quality of the individuals, the manager. It brings a lot of challenges. So, as I said, we've been in very difficult scenarios this season. We've done very well, and hopefully we can do the same on Sunday.
Do you have any personal memories of sort of some difficult times you've had at Old Trafford? Because obviously you weren't able to win there as a player, but maybe as a manager you'll be able to.
I don't know. I think now we are preparing the game and try to visualize the game that we're going to have to play on Sunday, and we put ourselves in a really positive context. That's what we try to do.
I know you don't want to look too much in the past, but the reverse fixture obviously carries some fantastic memories. I just wondered what your memories of the dramatic late win earlier in the season.
Yeah, it was a game with a lot of alternatives. difficult one. There were small margins because they had a huge moment when the goal was disallowed. It was a 1-2. And then we turned the game around and scored 2 very good goals. So that tells you the difficulty, the quality of them, and what we're going to have to do to beat them.
Hi, Erik.
Hi.
The main question I guess to start off with is, will you have any players back on Sunday?
I hope I have players, yeah. But there are players trained. They did train tomorrow. Of this morning, there was Bruno was on the pitch, and Scott McTominay was back on the pitch. So there are some players returning, but also I have to report that unfortunately yesterday Mason Mount fell out, so he will not be available for Sunday.
Is it? Obviously it's only 15 days to the cup final now. Are there any players that are definitely not going to feature again this season?
Not in this moment, definitely. But we have some doubts, and some players they're really fighting to be available, and that is so amazing. They all try. They are all desperate to play. Yesterday, Licia came to me. He wanted to play tomorrow, on Sunday against Arsenal, but he's not ready yet. He needs a little bit more time to go through the process. But he is so desperate, and there are more. Rafa Varane, Victor Lindelof, Luke Shaw had a setback in his process as well. But there's still a hope, and he will fight to be available for the final.
Martinez is keen to play in the cup final, but he's had 3 injuries this season. He's back on the grass. What's his situation?
I just tried to explain. He is desperate to play. He misses so much. The team missed him, and he wants to play, but as you say, he had 3 injuries across the season, and he's almost there, so injury free, so he's in the end of the healing process, and now he has to get back into team training, into matches.
Is there a situation where you're almost on the verge of gambling with players' fitnesses, or would you never do that?
I will never do a gamble with the player, never. It's about them, about their futures, because that's the most important, about their careers. I have to take responsibility for it, and of course the club, that's the most important, but the safety from the player, the health of the player, I think that is also always a higher level.
And Rashford, where's he at the moment?
Rashford, of course, he trained this morning as well, and we have to see how he recovered from this, but I think it looks quite good, and I hope he can tomorrow make the next training and then see if he's available for Sunday.
Is it important to get the result, the performance right on Sunday, or are you already starting to think about that cup final?
Both, but we always go in a game to win, and not preparing for next game. And of course it is in my back head, but we want to put out a team what is competitive for Sunday, a team what is eager to win, and we choose the best team for Sunday to win that game.
Erik, of course you want to win the next game, as you say. At what point though do you start looking at the bigger picture and think about prioritising games?
You do always, so I don't take big risks with players now to win on Sunday, and with the risk they drop out again. But I think it's not so different in a normal situation if you didn't have that cup final.
And looking ahead to Sunday, Arsenal, how do you prepare for them? What do you expect?
We know all, it's one of the best teams, or probably the best team. You can discuss about this. Is City the best team, or is Arsenal at this moment the best team? Very ball secure, very good structures. We know we have to play to absolutely our maximum levels to get a result in, but we are capable of it.
What do you say to the fans, Erik, who probably look at this game and think after Monday we've got absolutely no chance?
So you see the fans on Monday, they were our example. That is what I told the players. They backed us, and I think they see how we struggle. They see our problems we have. So they have a very good understanding about all the injuries we have, that we struggle, but they keep backing the team. So I'm very pleased with them.
Just about Mason Mount, I mean, it almost encapsulates your season in a way that he came, big expectations, and he can never play again.
It's very unfortunately very unlucky, and as you see, it's a symbol. But we have so many injuries, and it's difficult for all of us, for the whole club, but in particular the fans, and that's why they show unity. And when things are going bad, and you stick together, we will come out, and still we have to play for something really high. That's the FA Cup final, of course, and for the rest we will keep fighting in every game to get us also over the ranking into Europe.
Samuel. Just on a relatable note with Mount, do you regret not signing Declan Rice because he was available for transfer in the summer, given his impact at Arsenal?
He's a very good player. I would absolutely have fitted here, but not that I'm not happy with Mason. This is what you're suggesting. I'm very happy with Mason, and he's also a very robust player. You see if in his profile, he played, I think, the last 4 seasons. So this is the 5th. Then the last 4 seasons only had a small issue in the end of his Chelsea career. Before that, he played almost all the games 3 seasons after each other, with 3 days turnaround. He always played, and so I think it's really bad luck what happened to him. And he's a very good player, and we really missed him across the season, I think, because he would have absolutely would have a contribution to our levels.
James.
Erik, your fellow Dutchman Louis van Gaal had a difficult second season in charge at United in the Premier League in Europe, but then went on to win the FA Cup, but to his great disappointment was sacked. Have you got any concern that the club, that even if you go on to win at Wembley, that the club might end up making a similar decision to what they did over Louis?
No, I think they have common sense, and they see when you have 32 different backlines, when you have 8 centre backs, you use 8 centre backs. If they see we use 13 partnerships in centre halves, when they see when we don't have a left fullback, when we have so many injuries, they know that will have a negative impact on the results. And still, we are fighting, and it's huge, FA Cup final. So we are very happy to be there, and can still be a highlight for this season. And of course we are not happy, but we know the reasons why we are underperforming in the ranking now, and that causes the injuries. And I'm a realistic person, and I see this when I make this analysis. And no team will perform when you have so many injuries in key areas.
He's saying his brain says they're lifting the title, but they have to go to Old Trafford, where they don't have a great record, and win in order to take that title fight to the last day. If they don't, it's City's to win at their rival Spurs on Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, Arsenal at the minute, unstoppable. The way they're playing, they're scoring goals for fun, very solid at the back, and I fancy them to go there and win, because Man United's confidence right now, obviously off the back of the Crystal Palace game, will not be in a good place. I think if Arsenal can score early, the floodgates could open, but I do expect a bit of a reaction from Man United in this one.
Yeah, because what we saw on Monday, I know that Crystal Palace are on a good wicket at the moment. I know that under Oliver Glasner, things are going really well. They have been playing well. I did not expect that result.
I don't think many people did. Obviously, we know it's not been a good season for Manchester United. They're on a bad run. But the way that they collapsed and the manner and how it escalated, Zesh is completely right. I think they'll demand a reaction, and that's probably what is making Arsenal fans a little bit nervous, given their bad record there. It's, what, 1 win in 16, even though Arsenal have been by far the more dominant side out of those 2 teams in recent years, even though, you know, Manchester United historically have won those battles up until the last few years. Arsenal have been really dominant, but they still haven't managed to get that many good results there. So it's going to be interesting because there is so much on the line, and even though Manchester United are sort of out in a lot of conversations, they've still got to pick up some form before a huge FA Cup final.
Defenders Union representative on the couch here, so I feel like we need to ask you about Man United's defence.
Well, I think sometimes you can overanalyse when the team conceded goals, but if you look at the Crystal Palace game, a couple of the goals are just individual errors. You know, the first one here, Casemiro comes way out of his position. Johnny Evans, instead of engaging the ball, drops off and allows Elise to get a clear shot at the goal. So sometimes it's just poor defending. Here again, square on, wrong body shape, gets beaten very easily and he gets punished. Sometimes you get away with it, but when you get punished and you get exposed like that, Crystal Palace, having played there, it's a tough ground to go and play. So you can't afford them, you know, opportunities on a plate. And then this is just inexcusable, really, for a player of his experience to get caught and then you get punished. And you have games like that as a defender, but they all come in one game and from players that you don't expect to make those mistakes. And his left foot, you know, when you put him in there, he's punished them.
I think Casemiro's catching a lot of smoke lately.
Yeah, it's hard. He's obviously, I think he's 32, 33 now. He's coming towards the latter stage of his career, but he's playing out of position. That's the most important thing, and that's why he's really, really finding it tough. I think that was Manchester United's 14th different centre-back partnership of the season, so it's a position they've struggled with because of injuries, and Ten Hag has made loads of changes there. So he's been put in an unfortunate situation, I think, and Zesh can probably answer on this. It's where that experience is the most disappointing thing, because even though he's playing in a position that he's not familiar with, he probably should have enough experience to see him through and be a bit more of a leader in those situations as captain as well. And that whole thing just sort of evaporated in one moment on Monday night.
100%. So Johnny Evans, Casemiro, probably the two most senior players on that side.
Yeah.
They set the tone for the team. So if they're solid, they're hard to break down, then the team can gather some momentum. But if your two senior guys are making mistakes, it doesn't bode well for the team, and obviously the result was the result. It weren't great, but I agree. If you've got that experience, sometimes you have to be a bit calmer, make more correct decisions.
And then I just wanted to ask you about the defence on the other side, because obviously Arsenal have kept 10 clean sheets away from home. It's a record for them. They have been phenomenal regarding their backline.
Yeah, I mean, like when teams are keeping clean sheets, the back four and the goalkeeper get a lot of credit, but it's definitely a collective team display. So the way they press, the way they're organised, you can see when you watch, they're well coached, they're drilled, the distances between everybody, they're a very well organised unit and they're getting clean sheets as a result of it.
So basically what you're saying, the best form of defence is also attack.
Well, if you press high and win the ball, your defence are not doing as much. But when called upon, defenders need to defend and enjoy defending, which they